Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Let's dive right on into episode number 2 in our monthly mini series focusing on common pitfalls of new execs, right? What are some of the common things that brand new corporate executives make as they're stepping into their new executive role, right? If we know what these pitfalls are, then we can keep an eye out for them and we can avoid them as opposed to falling right into the hole and having to scramble and get out of that, right? It's just as important to understand how to avoid it. And then if you're already in the pitfall, it's equally as important to understand how to get out of it, right? And then continue to succeed and thrive and live your purpose and serve and all of the things that really matter whenever we're moving forward in our careers, right? Okay. So last week we talked about self-blame. If you didn't check it out, please go ahead and check it out. And if you didn't get the workbook, come on, what's wrong with you? Get the workbook. It's free. Go answer the questions, right? We hear all the time that knowledge is power, and you may be thinking, well, I've gotten this knowledge because I'm listening to this episode or I'm watching the episode, depending upon how you're participating in this. I've got it. Well, remember, knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is just the first step. Actually taking action and using the knowledge that you've gained is where your power lies. And so if you will get the workbook and do the exercises to really anchor in what you've learned, and really seek to understand yourself through this process, you will have significant power to then take control of your career and move yourself to the next level. That's what you're trying to do. So let's just go ahead and do it, right? Okay, so that was last week. What are we going to talk about this week? What's today's topic? Well, today's topic is all about facts versus people. Facts versus people. And you're like, what does that mean, Katrina? Well, it's pretty simple. When you were a professional, right? Before you were an executive, when you were a professional, a manager, a director, a team leader, all of the above, right? When you sat in one of those seats, what did you have to care about most? What mattered? What were you responsible for? Well, the answer is you were responsible for making sure the machine was running, right? You had to be the subject matter expert on ensuring that your piece of the corporate machine ran effectively. You had to know facts. You had to understand the how, the process, the flow. You had to know all the components, the pieces and parts, right? It's like the piece of the business that you were responsible for was a puzzle. And you had to understand every single piece of that puzzle intimately, confidently, backwards and forwards, sideways, right? With your eyes closed, you had to understand every piece of the puzzle. You needed to understand how everything fit together. And if a piece came out or a piece broke, you had to understand how to quickly put that back together. You were responsible for facts. Because with facts and knowledge and understanding, that's how you moved the business. That's how you kept the machine operating. Now, as an executive, you may be thinking, I've just stepped into this role. I've got to learn the facts of this position. I've got to learn all of the knowledge and the key components. I've got to understand the puzzle pieces for this new role and how they fit together before I do anything else. I've got to value facts over relationships. And the reason why is because that's what you've done for the past 10 years. Well, the reality, like it or not, the reality is that as an executive, relationships are your new commodity. Relationships are everything. That's what matters. You must tap in to people. Are you going to learn things along the way? Absolutely. Are you going to learn how to be an executive leader? Yes. Those are leadership skills. That's a skill set that you're personally trying to master. That's not business facts. That's not how do I run the machine facts. That's what you learned before. As you step over and become this executive, you cannot move forward with the mindset or the theory or the thought that you must master more facts in order to be successful. There are 5 to 10 other yous, right? The you that you used to be, running the machine, knowing the puzzle backwards and forwards and sideways. You have yous below you. Okay? Now you must be a new you. You must be the executive, which means you have to value and focus on relationships and people over trying to learn all of this knowledge and gain all of these facts. Yes, For 10 years, you had to live in that space. And that is a pitfall that you will step right into. Oh, I've got this new role. I've got to learn everything. I've got to learn all of the key components of the position and all of the workflows, and I've got to figure all of these things out because I'm supposed to be the subject matter expert in order to move the business forward. Now, the easiest way that I can describe how you have to transition over and be this executive is you've got to become a politician. And I know, man, when I thought about it this way, it used to bother me. And I'm not saying that I feel really good still with saying that you've got to kind of be like a politician, because we all know that politicians have a really bad rap, right? They make promises they don't keep. They go and they seem self-serving, right? But when we really step back and we don't allow emotion to cloud our judgment or preconceived notions to cloud our judgment, when we think about a politician, what we can quickly realize is that politicians actually don't physically go do anything. They work diligently to learn the key facts and issues at hand. They work diligently to partner with people who know things more than they do, right? They partner with subject matter experts to learn what they need to know, and then they get into a room of people and they work hard to influence each other and compromise in order to move the country, the state, the city, whatever level they're at. They work diligently to move that portion of government forward. At the same level, you as an executive must do the same thing. You must understand that people around you know more. Tap into them. Let them teach you just the key facts that you need to know. Not all the facts. You don't need to spend your life studying like you did in college. Those days are gone. Now, you're going to focus on learning from the people just the handful of facts you need. You're going to spend time focusing on the people around you, influencing them, using your relationships, building more relationships, and prioritizing people over factual book, subject matter expert knowledge. You've got to transition that. If you spend all of your time head down, focused on learning the facts of your new role, you will not perform. And you have a small window in order to start generating traction and results. It's a must. If we go back to the politician analogy and we're thinking about it through the lens of being a politician, think about how fast a politician in a new role for the very first time, shares what they're going to accomplish over the first 90 days, right? The first 6 months. They share with you very clearly what they're going to achieve. Why? Because we expect that they're going to hit the ground running and they're going to do something. That is human nature. Do not think that that same expectation doesn't exist for you as a new executive. It does. And the days of being able to sort of put your head down and let the machine run and you sort of figure it out and glean all this knowledge and you're going to raise your hand and say, hey, I need to go shadow this person or I need to spend time with that person, gone. You're already there. You've got enough knowledge. Go. Build the strategy. Influence other people. Spend time with people. People over facts. Avoid the pitfall. If you are there right now thinking you've got to master the facts before you go build relationships, get yourself out of that mindset. It is not right. It is a pitfall that will hinder and potentially damage your success. So get yourself out of it. If you're about to step into an executive role, realize right now that it's more valuable to spend time with peers, with people, spending time learning, picking their brain. You're still going to learn, but you're learning through people. You're not sitting there trying to master a process. Two very different things, okay? Grab the workbook, answer today's questions based off of today's topic. I'm going to see you next week. As always, go and be legendary.